Hello everybody, thanks for stopping back by Wild Bird Creative. Today I'm just making a quick journal page. I have a piece of discarded sheet music and I have a template that I just made out of a piece of sketchbook paper. Now I saved the middle part because I might want to use that in something else. But for right now, let's just get started. This is not a terribly involved project at all, and it's very free and easy. Just pick some colors that you want for your background and just sponge them on. And because it's your background, you're going to want to bear in mind your second color palette. So this background is blues and greens. So the one I use next, I will go with oranges, pinks, and yellow. But I wanted a very calming background. And I'm just using my very, very heavily textured sponges. I need a little more of my green. This is almost gone. It's my brilliant yellow green. And I'm down to the bitter end of it. It's time to make another order. But I'll be able to get through this project with what I have. And I'm just going right on over the blues and the turquoise with the light green because it is such a pale color. So there's our base. Let's just set this aside. If that template holds up, I can use it again. Now I printed out some copies and traced some hearts onto my stencil film. This is the brand that I use. It's just matte stencil film. And I'm keeping the centers too, because at some point I will want to use them for something. So I'm going to put this right in the middle. I also have another one, and I'm torn between which one I want. I'm almost thinking I want to go with the primitive shaped one for this. Yeah, let's go with this one. Now, what I'll do is I'll set this aside to dry. And I'm going to grab a piece of my watercolor paper. And I will put it onto this, and then I will move it over by cutting it out. And I'm going to do a little bit of purple and a little bit of pink in this. Get a couple more stencils here. And just come in, and I'm going to go over the whole thing in just a very random pattern. And again, I don't mind if it blends, but I do want it to have a little bit of separation between the colors. Where did my pink one go? Here it is. Okay, there we go. There's my heart. Very simple. Now, on top of this, I want to add just a few flowers. Again, just for interest. And this is a Sean Petit stencil. And this I'm going to do with silver, because I want it to be an entirely different look, but I don't want it as bold as a white might be. And I'm just keeping the stencil underneath because it doesn't matter if it goes over a little bit onto the stencil. Okay, I think I got everything. Yep, there it is. I'm going to have a lot of cleanup to do from this one, but that's okay. So let me go clear a space, put my sponges to soak, let this dry for a second. Everything is dry. I have pulled out my Elegant Flourishes Autumn Leaf stamps and my fluid chalk ink pad, and I'm just going to add a little bit of interest to the very edges of this. And this has a lot of stamp options. There's 7 or 8 of these, so I can't go wrong mixing them up. And it's more just to add just some additional design elements to the background that I'm doing this. Let's see, here we go. And when I put this into a journal, I'll be trimming it down. So a lot of this excess will then be used in a different project down the road. There we go. Let's do this one. Like that. And let's get, I've got a couple little tiny ones here that I'm going to use, and I will just extend them right off the other ones, because that's one of the really nice things about clear stamps is you can decide to add more and you can see where you're putting them. Just ends up having some nice curly Q effects in the background. That's all. And then this will go right on top of it. There we go. Okay, let me cover this up, set this aside, and now I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this. And I'm going to want a fair amount because this paper, while it's not super thick, does have a mind of its own. So, you can already see it's curling a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, it is all glued down. Now, I just want to add a little bit of crackle to this. Not too much, just a little bit. just an extra layer on top of that background. This is one of those stencils that ends up making a very understated pattern when you use it. See, it's just delicate. Again, that little bit of interest. Now, the one thing you do want to do with a stencil like this is check your progress. Make sure that you like what you're getting for an effect and that you're going into the spots where you want some interest. It's a little harder to see what you're doing. This isn't a perfectly clear stencil. But still, it does give you a really nice little bit of crackle look. And it helps push that background back a little more. I think I'll add a little bit just right there. And maybe a little bit more right here at the very top. It's where makeup sponges are great because you can really get into these tiny details. There we go. Let me set all of this aside. And now I have a printout on tissue that's going to go on top. I'm just working my way out from the center. As carefully as I can. Always make sure when you are printing on tissue paper that you print on the non-waxy side. There we go. Let me get a little bit and hit the edges here. This is a great way to smooth it out. You can go nice and slowly. It's going to take a second for that to dry. Put my lid right on this. Actually, I'll use my stencil. Give it a couple fans. And there we have it. Just a quick page. I can add more if I want, but I like it the way it is, and then I will trim it down about that size and put it right into my journal. I hope you'll give this a try. Make your own journal page. This is a great way to do it because then you can cut it out whatever size your journal is. You start big and you work your way in, and it gives you a nice big palette to work on, or you can leave it this size and frame it. I'd love to see what you create. Thanks for stopping by. Wild Bird Creative.